Hello and welcome back to EGX 2015. It's the Gfinity Starcraft 2 Summer Masters 2 Day 2. All the twos. But it's going to be number one, I absolutely promise you. We had 8 unbelievable players yesterday. 4 of those are gone and we're into semi-finals and grand final today. You do not want to go anywhere. You do not want to miss it. Order a pizza, put the kettle on, because this is going to be unmissable. Let's not waste any more time listening to me just dribble on. We're going to hand you over to the analyst desk and the main man, Lycan. Take it away.
Thank you, Martin. Again, welcome to Summer Masters 2 here at Gfinity EGX 2015. With me, I have, as always, Bling and TLO. Good morning, guys. How you doing?
I'm good. I slept better than last night, so the night before, actually. So, yeah, I'm feeling better today.
Good, good. How about you, TLO?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Feeling amazing.
Good, good?
Yeah,
all right,
it's
cool.
all good. It's a wonderful day in England. Always love coming here, actually. It's a beautiful country.
There was the sun today, actually. I didn't think that happened
Colder today.
in England.
Colder today.
It was
much
cold.
colder. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And I forgot my coat, and it was horrible.
Yeah, it was a bit chilly, but things are about to heat up here at Gfinity Summer Masters 2. We're about to see some excellent Starcraft 2. We have had a great first day, actually. 8 players came in. We had a lot of action, a lot of excitement, a little bit of upset. You know, Lobo not making it through. Really wasn't expecting that, but overall, I think we're going to see some great games. Is there anything in particular you're looking forward to, Bling?
I'm looking forward to getting my prediction right. That's what I'm looking forward to. Young6 still going strong, so excited about that one.
Yeah, what about you, Dario?
I mean, I still got a shot on Psionic. Maybe it's not quite as likely as yours, but it would be also much more rewarding because he was my dark horse and not the favorite.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, that would be a nice victory, but it's not going to happen, bud.
Well, I still have some faith.
All right.
A little bit of faith, a little bit of TLO magic might come through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, awesome. What'd you have for breakfast?
I had a typical good, strong English breakfast. I went all out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. A full fry-up, as they say?
Yeah, a fry-up, just with no fries.
With no fries.
No fries.
Chips,
No
mate.
chips.
We're in England. They're
Yeah.
chips.
I was accommodating to you.
What about you, Dario?
Pretty standard. Eggs, bacon, green tea.
Yeah?
Green tea?
Yeah.
That's pretty standard.
Yeah.
No. You're in England, man.
I mean, standard
You're going to
for
get
me.
a green tea?
So is...
Come on, you guys are all about the tea. It's more about the black tea for you guys.
No,
more about
it's
a
normal
little nice
tea.
Earl Grey.
A little bit of milk. Yeah. Earl Grey. I personally don't drink tea, so I'm just speaking on behalf of
And
fellow
you're
Brits.
calling me out for not being... Like, surely drinking any kind of tea is more British than not drinking any tea.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the standard British thing is not necessarily a green tea. Although I do like a green tea, I must say.
Green tea is good. Let's turn it now from tea to StarCraft. Let's talk about the prize pool. There's a little bit of money on the line today, right? So if you see down at the bottom, anyone who won yesterday, they now have at least guaranteed $1,200, right? If you go on past that, second place today is going to have $2,500, and then the first place is going to take a pretty penny of $5,000 total. That's pretty exciting. $10,000 total on the line, and we are moving fast forward through the day. Yeah, well, a lot of money. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we saw yesterday, the games we saw, the players who made it, the players who didn't, right? So moving on from the quarterfinals, it's Psionic and Marinelord. That'll be our first match for the day. And then the second semifinal, Young6 and Keen move forward. Keen, of course, upsetting the favorite for almost everyone, the WCS champion Lobo, and then Young6, winning pretty handily over Thermal. Marinelord's game versus Rhett. It was a pretty definitive win as well. But the Patience Psionic game, a little bit of a surprise for a lot of people. Psionic just coming out extremely strong over the Korean Patience. So it was a pretty exciting game, a pretty exciting series, pretty exciting day, I'd say.
Yeah, it was a little bit disappointing for Patience, in my opinion. I like him a lot, actually. Every event that he goes to, I'm always friendly with him. He's one of the friendlier Koreans, in my opinion. But, yeah, it's sad to see Lilbo go as well. I think that was, well... I don't think anyone predicted that except myself.
Yeah. Any disappointments for you, Dario?
Well, I mean, obviously I'm sad that my teammate didn't quite make it. But, well, clean slate soon with Legacy of the Void coming up. And it's cool to see another French semi-final and once again another French finalist. That's becoming quite common these days.
Yep, foreigner finals in general actually is pretty exciting.
Well, mostly French.
Yeah.
It's kind of localized.
They need to spread that talent throughout Europe. Where I get some other people in there. Get maybe Germans coming in Legacy of the Void. We'll have TLO rise again. That creativity you're known for. Put those new units to good use. So the Legacy of the Void, it is right on the horizon. They're going to release that November 10th of this year. So this really is one of the last events of Heart of the Swarm. We have DreamHack also going on. But yeah, Heart of the Swarm coming to an end. So this is kind of like the final, I guess would we say swan song of the game?
Would you say that?
Swan song?
I'm lost.
All
if you
right.
would say that, that's great, but I don't know what that means.
Before a swan dies, it sings. So
It does?
yeah,
Is that
Yeah.
really what happens?
yeah, and it's supposed to be really pretty. Yeah,
Nah.
yeah.
I think it's more of an expression.
Is it an expression or is that what actually happens?
I don't know. We'll have to go kill a swan and find out. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at our predictions from the beginning of the tournament. As we can see, Bling is the only one who stands correct. Everyone else chose Lobo, and Lobo, again, lost to Keen. So you are still handily with Myungsik. How do you think that's gonna continue through?
You know, after seeing Keen play yesterday against Lobo, he didn't start off too strongly, but he did get better as the series progressed. So coming into today, I'm sure he's going to feel a lot more confident. But Myungsik, he's always been a really solid player in my opinion. He has been a bit wacky and a bit crazy here or there, but I think he's probably in better conditions right now. So I'm feeling confident in my prediction. I think he will take the series, but I think it'll be a closer series.
All right. Well, let's go then look at the dark horses, the people we didn't necessarily expect. The dark horses, for a lot of people, Euthermal was chosen. He didn't make it through. I see that Psionic is a dark horse for a couple other people, for UTLO. So you pretty confident that he'll beat Marinelord, or you think that Marinelord is going to take that?
That'll be a tough one, I think. Marinelord definitely favored. He's very established nowadays in the European scene as probably top 2 best Terran, between him and Bunny in Europe, I'd say. And Psionic still has to prove quite a lot for himself.
Right. So we have the Myungsik and Keen series. That's going to be our second game of the day. Do you see, Dario, Myungsik or Keen advancing into the finals?
I'd probably go with Myungsik.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to have to join my mate next to me here with his predictions and
All right.
support him fully.
So
I mean, Keen didn't play bad, but at the same time, it felt more like Lobo made a lot of mistakes that allowed Keen to take the series, and I don't think we're going to have the same story with our Korean brothers.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Lobo, I think that's why he was so down after the series. Usually he's kind of like a cheerful guy, and after I spoke to him a little bit, or tried to at least, he didn't really speak back to me. So yeah, he was definitely annoyed at the fact that he kind of should have won the series.
yeah. He said he didn't care, but I think, at the end of the day, when you step onto a stage, you get ready to play.
You always care. Like
Yeah.
as much as you say you don't, you always care. Even if it's not a lot or it is a lot, you always care. So I mean, if you didn't, you wouldn't be playing, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
And I think the other thing is a lot of people were looking towards this. There were going to be Koreans here. There are Koreans here. We knew that. And so it was kind of like a pre-BlizzCon thing. Like, what's it going to be like for him to play against the Koreans that aren't just sitting in, Europe and in North America and playing WCS. And we got a little experience with that. But I think that we didn't necessarily see Lobo on his best form. So we really can't use this and say, obviously BlizzCon's going to be a bust.
You know what it is as well? I think maybe he got a little bit complacent. Obviously, he did just come off a really big win, the biggest that he probably could have got until BlizzCon. But in that second map, I don't know if everyone remembers, but in that second map that he played against Keen yesterday, where he was 47 workers to the 22 of Keen, 2 bases fully saturated against 1 CC of Keen. Yeah, he really did throw the game. So maybe he just got a little bit too complacent. He was a little bit too confident. And yeah, it's sad to see.
Yeah. So before we go into game 1, which is going to be Psionic versus Marinelord, it's going to be a really exciting series. We have a little piece about them. So let's go ahead and check that out.
This match will be really interesting. Marinelord as a player is really strong, super solid. His weaker matchup, I think, is Protoss. It has never changed. We'll see how it goes, but I think it will be favorite, but not that much.
I think he is very bad, but Protoss is carrying him, to be honest. And I truly think that. Like, I think Protoss is very easy on Out of the Storm, thanks to Mothership Core. And I think he's one of those players that get carried by Protoss. So I think it could be like, I could lose one map, but I don't think I will lose the best of 3. So I would say like probably 2-1 for me or 2-0. Considering the bracket, I'm aiming for the final, so yeah, if I lose in semi-final, it will be very disappointing.
I came here like kind of the underdogs. Like I think I'm by far the worst player in those 8. So I'm already happy with what I achieved right now. So I will play like with less pressure tomorrow, I think, but still focused to maybe try to win this.
Some pretty harsh words from Marinelord there, not really respecting his opponent at all.
Yeah, that was full on, man. Like I know the French banter a bit, but that was pretty harsh.
He was taking the jabs at Protoss too. Protoss across the board, just like, you know, the only reason he's gotten this far is because he plays Protoss. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, he's always been kind of vocal about it, but that was next level stuff.
Well,
right
Marinelord is always calling it as it is.
Yeah,
Not putting any filter.
And Psionic seems to be pretty aware of his situation. I mean, he is, you know, said that, you know, he's happy with his results. He said he felt that he was the worst player coming into here. So, you know, this is a good result for him so far. He's got to be happy, and I imagine that that's going to have an impact on his play. I wonder how we're going to see that play out. We've got Marinelord, who's very cocky, very confident. Do you think he's going to play it safe, or do you think he's going to try to play with his opponent?
No, we spoke about it a little bit earlier. What is cocky, and what is the difference between that and safe? And it's kind of the same thing. If he just plays standard and technically safe, that is a little bit confident at the same time. So I think he will take that route, but as Psionic said, coming into the tournament, he is the weaker player in his opinion as well. So when you come into a tournament with that mentality, you really do bring your A game and you play your best. And like we saw against Patience yesterday, he delivered and he won 2-0. So I'm not really too sure how good his PVT is. He said he hasn't been practicing too much except for the past week. And I actually saw him in the back room yesterday playing off races Terran. So I don't know how prepared he is for this matchup in particular. But yeah, he's definitely going to bring his A game, or his best game that he can bring. And I'm sure he's going to just be going into this with a laid-back attitude and just taking it as it comes.
Yeah, let's take a look at the maps now that we have. Moonlight Madness, Coda, and Cactus Valley. Those are the maps we're going to be playing on. Marinelord vetoed Terraform and Bridgehead. Dario, we were talking about that earlier as well, and he actually ended up not vetoing Bridgehead being a two-player map. He actually got rid of that one. What do you think of the pool? We're actually going to start on Moonlight Madness.
Who had the first pick here?
I believe it was Marinelord.
Okay, that's interesting.
No, I'm sorry. First, yeah, Marinelord.
Yeah, okay. First pick, Moonlight Madness. That's quite interesting because, again, as a map we are not seeing so much, right? Even in TVP.
Yeah, it's a bit of a funky one purely because of the back rocks. So.
Yeah. So theoretically, you can secure 3 bases pretty easily because you have a back base. But I feel it's pretty good for Terran because you can attack from a lot of sides to do a lot of dropping action, right?
Yeah, as the game goes on this map in particular, in the early to mid game, it's a little bit tricky for Terran because of those back rocks. A lot of all-ins are very strong from Protoss. Void Ray all-ins on the back rocks and kind of warping over the ledge a little bit. But as the game progresses and you get to those 3 bases, it's really difficult as a Protoss to kind of defend and go up to the 4 bases, which is kind of what you need to do. You can't stay on 3 bases forever, right? So it's kind of difficult in that aspect, but it depends how the Psionic wants to approach it, because I don't think he's going to play for that late game. So
we've talked about that before, Psionic being a very aggressive, cheesy kind of player. I imagine that we might see some proxy Stargate tech, I assume, on this map. It's pretty good for it. You can get it relatively close.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. It was actually one of the only builds that I used to play on this map for a long time against Terran. So it's definitely possible. I know that it fell out of fashion a little bit, but yeah, it's definitely up there.
Yeah. If we look on the screen, we can actually see that we have recent results from these 2 players. Of course, you know, there was the Gamers Assembly that they were talking about earlier that he actually beat Lobo, Marinelord, and Daishi as well. But as we can see recently, the other games, it's 2-0, 2-0, and 2-0. So I think there's a pretty handy favor for Marinelord in this series. Let's talk about predictions for how we're going to come out of this, right? Do you think it's going to be a 2-0, or do you think he might take a map?
I'll go first then. I think it's going to be a 2-0, yeah. I don't think Marinelord's going to take any risks. I think he's feeling extremely confident going into this. Like he said in his pre-game interview, he might drop a single map, and that's probably down to just not scouting or maybe misplay or something. But Moonlight, Coda, and Cactus, I don't think he's going to really take any chances.
Dario?
Well, I think something can always happen, especially in TVP. There's a lot of builds that can get you ahead really a lot early on if you execute them correctly. So Psionic definitely is going to take a map, I think.
Yeah. I think you can't discount the power of Protoss, and there's always the chance.
Just say it. Just say it. Go on.
I'm saying it right now. There's always the chance. The book of Protoss bullshit exists for a reason, and there is always something that can be pulled out against any opponent. All right, so thank you guys. Really appreciate that. We're now going to go to Martin, who's going to bring our players on stage, get them in the booths, and get the action started for the day for Gfinity Summer Masters 2. Take it away, Martin.
Thank you very much, mate. Right, as the boys have said, it's time. Semi-final number 1 is now playing for a place in the final. We've got 2 unbelievable players. It's an all-French affair. So let's get player number 1 out, playing as a Protoss for Against All Authority. It's Psionic. His opponent, obviously also from France, playing for Millennium, playing as a Terran. It's Marinelord. Right, good luck, gentlemen. Shake hands for me, or not. Fair enough, no love lost. Why would you? It's early. All right, okay. With that tension in the room now, let's hand over to your casters, Jorasar and Daishi. Ooh.
Thank you very much, Martin. We're here now in the first semi-final of Gfinity. It's taken a little while. We're into day 2 now, but we're getting down to the sharp end of the spectrum. And Daishi, I'm sorry, we haven't got an all-French final, but we have the next best thing.
Yeah, we have at least 1 French player in the finals, and I like it.
And Psionic, of course, yesterday defeating Patience. I mean, really, really strong victory for him. I think the guys at the analyst desk were talking earlier about how we don't really see him at too many offline events, and there isn't that much recent data to go on by. And, of course, PvP is Patience's worst matchup as well. But it's still not easy to defeat someone of that caliber, and Psionic did quite a good job, to be honest.
Yeah.
And now we have him here in a completely different matchup. It's PvT, and Marinelord, I mean, the past results kind of speak for themselves here. It's really difficult to see Marinelord not just coming out of the block strong.
Yeah, but you know, in TVP it can always go very quickly. And Psionic, he's one of these Protoss players who knows how to trick his opponent. And we could see that they have a lot of matches played together, and very recent as well. And they know each other very well. They, I think, don't really like each other, maybe. I mean, well, there is a lot of rivalry in France, actually, on the scene between Lilbo, Psionic, DNS, Pchidrogo, and everyone else. Myself as well. So
is that
they definitely want to crush themselves.
Does that mean we have the French resurgence in Starcraft 2, but secretly everyone is rivals with everyone else as well, and we get a situation where maybe they're not... I don't know. I get the feeling it's more of a friendly rivalry, I want to say. But in the preview video, to be honest, Marinelord was pretty critical. Oh, it's Protoss carrying Psionic and stuff like that. How true is that statement, really? I mean, Psionic has come out and he has beaten Patience in his first game. Like, there isn't much else he could have done to prove that he deserves a spot here.
Yeah, obviously when we whine about Protoss being too OP or something, it's not because the player is not skilled or anything, because, for example, in PvP, they have the same race, so you cannot complain about balance. And the fact that Psionic won so convincingly, actually, outplaying his opponents time and time again.
He's championing a new fashion trend here at Gfinity.
With the hood, yeah.
Someone needs to make a hoodie with built-in headphones.
Oh, that would be an idea.
I'm gonna be a millionaire. Give me 2 weeks. We'll
2 weeks, wow.
Are those notes he's holding over there? Has he made some notes, or is he?
No, it's just that he doesn't like to have sweaty hands on the mouse.
That's just tissue on the mouse.
Yeah.
Right.
Gumio does the same, actually.
Yeah. Towel Terran.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this matchup, of course, TVP. winner getting a spot in the final against Myungshik or Keen. And of course, unfortunately, Lilbo out of the tournament, but that is also going to be an absolutely amazing match.
Keen against Myungsik, yeah. It's going to be, well, two Koreans facing each other. It's always the clash of the titans. I mean, it's...
and we're not getting a ZVZ finals.
And it's not a ZVZ finals.
It's a really interesting matchup on both sides of the bracket. And it leaves, of course, the races open in the finals completely open as well. So it's not clear to the players that it's not like they're only practicing for one matchup from this point onwards as well.
Yep.
Now, Marinelord, especially based off of recent matches, I think most people agree he has the statistical advantage in this matchup. I think most people have him down as the favorite to win. He's also really in form. And like the guys on the analyst desk were mentioning earlier, is trying to vie for strongest Terran in Europe. I think most people would agree it's either him or Bunny. Yeah. And the jury's kind of out. And Marinelord's putting in some strong results. Are we likely, therefore, to see Psionic try and finish this early? Are we gonna see some of the French cheese?
Well, we do know about cheese in France, obviously, so we're probably going to see some cheese, especially coming from him. I mean, yesterday, we saw that he was, first of all, loving Stalkers a lot.
Yes.
And he's very good with them. I mean, he takes the right decision. It's just perfect the way he plays them.
And we could have some funky play on map number 1 as well, because Moonlight Madness is going to be the first map moving into, of course, the more established Coda and then Cactus Valley.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see like Moonlight Madness, Bridgehead, and like go absolutely all out on the new maps. But if something funky is going to happen here, it's very hard to see it not coming out in game 1. I think everyone's seen everything on Coda. So if something happens that's going to be out of the ordinary, I feel like it could be this very moment.
I mean, Moonlight Madness, everything is said in the, in the name of the map. It's going to be madness from the Protoss, I think. Most likely a Stargate, I'm predicting it. We're going to see Oracles very early on.
Yeah, we could end up seeing very, very early aggression coming out of here from Psionic. And I feel like Marinelord as well is quite likely to maybe take this position in the game to go... I feel like Marinelord just wants to drag it out into a normal macro game. Marinelord had some very choice words yesterday for Psionic, right?
Yeah.
He knows that if we get into a regular game, we should be able to defeat our opponent here. So he's really in a position now where he doesn't want to go for any sort of cheese. He wants to scout his opponent, know exactly what's going on, and just patiently go into a normal macro game. I'm pretty certain that's what he's going for.
Exactly. I would have thought that as well if I didn't know him so well, but Marinelord is this kind of players who, when he knows he's superior to his opponent, he tends to cheese them to just end it as quick as possible. That's the way he approached the game. Like against Zerg, he's not afraid. You saw against Red, he thinks he's better than Reds. But he still goes for this proxy 11-11. You know, he's not afraid at all.
Well, that's very true, actually. I mean, it feels like a lifetime ago when we watched that game, but that was a really aggressive... And then game 2 sort of evened out. He was like, I've got a 1-game advantage now. Let's just sit pretty and make sure that we...
It was actually some kind of all-in on game 2. I mean, he had to do damage with this push that he had.
Yeah, for sure.
With the bio, the 2 medivacs.
Isn't that a bit of a risky strategy, though? Especially in a single elimination tournament. I mean, a spot in the finals is on the line now, and because we're now in the semi-finals as well, that's a lot of money to put your faith in cheese when you think that you'd be able to out-macro your opponent, right?
I mean, if it was me, I would have played macro and defensive, like, insanely, but he's not thinking that way. He doesn't... Yeah, I mean... I guess the French thing not to care. Like when you see Lilbo, Psionic, Marinelord, they just do their things. They're not scared about bringing up their own strategies and cheeses, even in TVP. So
well, that's gonna end up being a little bit confusing then, because who are we then more likely to see cheese out of in game 1? I'm still kind of leaning towards, just making sure the players have their headsets on. Actually, we should be 100% confident on that. But I am still leaning towards the player we mentioned first.
Yeah. But the second player, on the other hand, might go for one. He talked to me about special strategies that we might see. And I know that he likes this strat that you Thermal did against Myungsik with the proxy barrack into the main base.
Mate, there were so many strategies you Thermal did against Myungsik.
Yeah,
like,
on Coda.
Okay, yeah.
Was it?
It looked like about 8 different cheeses in one game. It was incredible. It's like this melting pot of, oh my god, what is going on in this series?
It was Bridgehead, the proxy barrack into the main base. He did that against Mana,
No,
actually.
that wasn't a barracks, that was a factory.
No,
That was where the... Oh, wait, no, that wasn't
barrack.
Bridgehead. That was, the barracks one. Sorry,
There was so
on
many
the very
cheeses.
on the very first map on Coda,
Yep.
the one proxy barrack. That was insane.
So Marinelord did that at WCS, but got scouted.
Sure.
And won the game anyways. And then he lost the best of 3, but he won that game.
Yeah. It's...
If I remember correctly. Was on Bridgehead as well.
I mean, the kind of strategies we might be seeing...
Oh, he lost, my bad, he lost, actually.
I think regardless of whether he won or lost, the point is he's perfectly capable even in a position
He
where
is,
he might be able to win the macro game to pull this kind of stuff out. And that just makes this series all the more unpredictable and all the more interesting as well. Again, like you said, if you were in Marinelord's position, you'd be macroing all day, every day.
Yeah, of course. I mean, especially playing against Psionic, he tends to be weak in the mid-game when there is a lot of multitasking coming from the Terran. I know that I've been in a lot of games against Psionic where he just takes a huge advantage early on because of his micro and his decision-making. He's very good at that. But then on the mid-game, you can really get back into the game by having a lot of multitask.
Yeah, you got to hold out for you almost want to hold out for long enough in the game to get to that comfortable level where, okay, I have my tech path chosen, I have my units, everything looks fine, I should be able to go ahead and just get back into this game and just focus on the late game, have my Storms out, potentially my Colossi, and just kind of relax and do your Protoss thing.
Yeah.
But getting to that point is pretty difficult, of course, as we all know. So it looks like we're going to be heading back into the game now. Apologies for the short delay, folks. All is well. We're on to Moonlight Madness and spawning in the top right-hand position as the Red Terran player representing Millennium. We have Marinelord. And the first barracks is comfortably inside his base. And over here in the bottom left-hand position, representing Against All Authority, the last-minute draft into the tournament, made an absolutely impressive PvP yesterday. Now it's to do the same against the Terran. It's Psionic.
So it's interesting to see that they are still not fighting each other. At least they don't want to proxy anything. So they have some respect, apparently, on this first match. Of course, Moonlight's not a map you want to proxy on. It's really tough to hide a building very close to your opponent's base.
Sure.
But we might still see something...
Is that why we have Coda second? It's like, oh, I'm going to bring up the cheese, specifically on Coda. Oh, never mind. We spoke too soon. Well, I say we spoke too soon. I believe you were talking about a Stargate, and I'm
quite sure it's going to be a Stargate, actually.
Surely not a Dark Stride.
Boom, I know him too well. I know him too well.
All right, so... Are we going to name this a little bit of Gruyere?
Gruyere?
Yeah.
Camembert, maybe.
Oh, that's actually my favorite. I'm not even making that up. Really? Camembert and Brie.
It's really
absolutely
strong.
Delicious. Right, the first Reaper actually causing the probes to get pulled off the line here. A little bit frustrated is Psionic at the moment, and getting a probe to a second one as well. This is fantastic. There's still another probe on about 1/3 hit points over on the left-hand side of his mineral line. He's not targeting that just yet. And now we have the first Stalker out, but that was a very, very successful Reaper harass coming out from Marinelord to start things off here.
Yeah, that was very greedy on the other hand from Psionic rushing that Stargate, not building.
Probe at the natural as well. We have a blinking command center, and it... Did anything get killed? No, nothing got killed off. Oh, nice try. Opportunistic probe there, trying to avenge his brothers back home. Unfortunately, there's absolutely no... Whoa! Almost walked away, but there's nowhere for the probe to go now, and the Marines do mop that up. And here comes the Oracle.
Is it gonna... Yeah, it's expected from Marinelord, as we see that he's already building a turret as well as a Widow Mine. So I don't think this... this Oracle is going to find much SCVs to kill.
And lately as well, we've just had some really, really nice sort of Widow Mine placements behind like the satellite dish or behind the refineries, trying to catch Oracles off guard. Oh no, he flies straight over the barracks and loses all of his hit points for free. And now... Well, that was one hit away from death. I mean, that was good reactions on the turret there, but unfortunately flying over the barracks means that that Oracle is next to useless right now for Psionic. He's going to have to patiently wait until he has shields again. A second one coming out, though. If at first you don't succeed, Deishi, try again.
I think he's going to make a lot of them, 3, 4 maybe.
Yeah.
And, well, at least he's going to have the map control, which is very nice in this matchup. He loses the Oracle, though. That's...
Oh, no, yeah, you want to be able to pull them up, and maybe if you were going to take all the Marines on with some sort of all-in push or something later on, you'd be able to. Now, though, second Oracle popping in, trying his best to get a bit of a scout off, maybe see if he can do some damage. prodding the engineering bay. That's not going to do very much at the moment, and the Marines are now out to push it back. So a frustrating start to the game for Psionic, first losing those probes to the Reaper, and now unable to be effective with those Oracles as well.
Normally he's very good at harassing still with his Oracle. He's probably gonna find 5-6 SCVs more this game with this single Oracle, slowly but surely. He might want to get this Reaper in the middle of the map, and it's gonna be Blink behind that, of course, with Psionic.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Like, it's going to be fantastic. We see Blink can be very, very effective against all races, to be perfectly frank. But this is after you've invested in the Stargate. It's after you've invested in multiple Oracles that weren't able to do economic damage. This Blink is just going to come out so much later than it could. You're going to have so few Stalkers compared to, like, a potential really good insta-Blink timing. And now the Reaper is inside the base as well. Is he going to scout the Twilight? Okay, he just misses the Twilight, actually. He didn't go any nearer into the base. But still, it's going to be really late compared to normal.
Yeah. So is Marinelord going to find any damage here? If Psionic loses too much prob, he's going to be very, very far behind. But this tech choice, I think it's great. Because Marinelord's team and Combat Shield are going to be so late that he's going to be able to go out on the map and find some damage. A lot of Marines on the second base. Photon Overcharge, of course, gonna push this
away. That's really good, because he's now dropped inside the main base with 2 Widow Mines as well, and there's no Photon Overcharge available here, so the Widow Mines are just going to be able to do excellent amounts of damage in terms of mining time lost. And even if he runs out with these... Oh, actually, managing to get there just... No. I thought it was going to be just in time, but unfortunately it manages to get some damage off. Marinelord does get out with the medevac and still manages to pick up a Widow Mine, though, so that was good from him.
Also, he's buying some time. That's the most important thing right now. He doesn't want Psionic to go out on the map and try to pressure his second base. He's keeping him in his base, which is something that he wants to do for the next 2-3 minutes, I would say.
Yeah, and of course, during that drop, he gets to see full visibility of the Twilight Council as well, so he knows that there's going to be a Blink follow-up here coming out from Psionic, so the more time he can keep in his base, the better. Saving the medevac, so important as a Terran to save those gas-heavy units to see what's going on. A Marine in the base to poke as well, and, well, he knows a push is coming out. Nice placement off that SCV, even if he does give his life.
So Steam is 2 minutes away from finishing. That's a long time for a Terran to be waiting when you know that there are being Stalkers on your doorstep. It's a pretty tense situation. I love the revelation. He's gonna be able to see this Medivac going, sniping the bunker maybe. Yeah, the Medivac as well. It's pretty nice.
Oh, he was a couple of hits away, and that actually allows Marinelord to repair the bunker here. And yeah, okay, just a couple of volleys from the Blink Stalkers will be able to kill that off again, but you didn't want to have to engage and lose those shields.
The Medivacs.
Oh, this is sick.
Oh, kills the first one, kills the second one. Oh my, that's just 20 supply gone.
And now we know why it's completely fine to leave the bunker alive. Psionic saw that, he worked, I like that, because he only actually saw the 2 medevacs move left inside the main base. That was enough for him to know that you're coming via the bottom of the map, not via the top of the map to go and drop. And that was perfect positioning from Psionic.
Yeah,
really
again, the
nice
decision making, he took the right decision, but sadly, it's not enough yet to be back into this game, because we have to keep in mind that he had a terrible early game, losing this Oracle, losing some props to the Reaper. Gonna probably send a Revelation. There we go.
Yep, and that's going to be nice just to keep a track on where the army is. You don't want to accidentally have your Blink Stalkers forced into a corner. I know they have Blink, of course, but you don't want to be able to... well, I mean, if you stim forward, even if you're blinking away, of course, the Terran army, especially with Concussive Shell, can potentially catch up, so he does need to be careful. I like the stim forward with the Marauders to try and slow them down, though, and he will just about get away. Instantly loading up 2 medevacs, knows that Psionic can see them as well with the Revelation, doesn't even mind, and Psionic is going to be dissuaded from trying to take a third here.
The macro from Marinelord is very, very nice. I mean, he's still at 20 supply, losing 2 Medivac full of units at 10 minutes. It's,
yeah, the
it's
work
very
count,
solid.
52 to 54, but of course you have those double mules on the way. Marinelord's being just very active with his medevacs. And one thing I do like from Psionic as well, he is spreading his map vision quite a bit. If you look at the north of the map as well, he is getting ready to spot any medevacs that might be coming in from the top as well. So I like that he is spreading his units like that, and he's really preparing for this as well.
The multi-front attack, though, from Marinelord, I think is gonna do a lot of damage. He has a lot of army supply, actually.
The Tastelope and our Toastalope over there next to the back rocks were doing a little dance there. It was kind of funky. And now Marinelord has taken those rocks down. He's going to be able to potentially come through the back door.
93 army supply. Wow. That's a lot of Terran bio units. Is he going to be able to push it back? Nope.
No, versus if you don't have any units in front to sort of bolster the damage for these Stalkers, you can do it with pure Blink Stalker, but not when your army supply is like 2/3 of the Terran player, because at the end of the day, you still have Stim and you still have the Medivacs able to heal the units. So Psionic right now needs to buy some time and make sure he gets a couple of Colossi out before there are Vikings for Marinelord, and then maybe he can hold this position. But Marinelord doesn't look like he wants to give him the time. Force fields come down here, and there is a Colossus going to work on the Marines in the top, which is great, but Marinelord is definitely winning the battle in front.
The Widowmines burrowing. No, it's
and
not
that one
gonna
was
have
on
time.
cooldown, but that could have been really... It might not even matter here. Marinelord continuing to push in, not caring about the Colossi. He was taking out the sentries, then taking out a couple of Stalkers. Now he's focusing on the Colossi and continuing to bring in reinforcements. The army supply is 87 to 30 now, and I think just before Psionic is able to get any sort of critical mass here, Marinelord's coming in. This timing looks like it just wins the game for him.
Yeah, I mean, he has so many bio. He just went through and destroyed the Protoss army without doing much, but this time he seems to be overextending a bit. His units were low, 2 Colossus, of course, dealing a lot of AoE damage, but it might still be enough for the Terran player to close this game out.
So the thing is, Marinelord knows that he's... I think Marinelord knows that he's overextending here. Because he's thinking, as long as I can continuously trade against this, I really don't mind, because I'm going to be able to continuously stream units in. I have my 3rd base, and I just denied the 3rd base from Psionic as well. You can't live on one Colossus alone if he keeps taking out the Gateway army, and that's it. GG, Marinelord takes game number 1.
That was very convincing, to be honest. He had a good early game, and even though he lost those two Medivacs, he just has so many units.
That was
so many.
Although the moment he did lose the 2 Medivacs, I really want to give credit to Psionic for that as well.
Yeah.
It was really sick that he pulled away the Stalkers. At first glance, you go, hang on a second, the bunker hasn't been killed. You're giving your opponent a chance to repair the bunker, and then you see where the Stalkers were going. You're thinking, good. You know the timing. You know how long it's going to take for Medivacs to get out to that kind of position. And then as soon as he knew that, everything else was just really easy because you have the blink as well and can follow the Medivacs if they boost. That was really nice play from Psionic, but ultimately not enough to swing the game in his favor.
Yep. I'm really looking forward to see what he's gonna go for on the second game, because to me he doesn't have to be scared of Marinelord. His micro was pretty good with the Stalkers and decision making as well. He should go for a macro game, because we could see that he was just so far behind. He didn't have the army supply to deal with Marinelords.
Yeah, a lot of that came down to, I think, very simply not getting any damage done with the Stargate and the Oracles.
Yeah.
If that was a much earlier blink, I'm not saying he would have won the game, but he would have had a much more prepared army against Marinelord. Or if the Oracles had done a lot of economic damage as well, we could have been going down a very, very different path. It's just that Marinelord needs credit for being able to shut that down so well. He didn't scout the proxy. We saw that during the game. The turrets were up at the perfect timing, and the bunker at the top of the ramp, maybe a little bit cautious versus an all-in or something like that, and the Oracle flying right over it. I think that's really what hurt, a lot more than the missiles hurt.
Yeah, the thing is, for Marinelord, he saw the lack of Nexus, and you cannot really scout the whole map to see which kind of proxy it is. So you have to be able to be kind of ready against everything. So of course the turret in case of DTs or Oracles or weird stuff like that. The bunker in case it's some kind of weird forgate or proxy robo with immortals or something.
You never know, right?
You never know as a Terran.
It's the Protoss spellbook.
Yeah, the spellbook. He just chooses the strat, and the Terran has to wait a bit in the early game to.
Well, map number 2 is going to be Coda. What is the likelihood of us seeing an in-base barracks?
I don't think we're going to see an in-base barrack.
I think we want it, but we're not going to see it.
We're not going to see it.
So Marinelord enjoying a nice little advantage right then, and actually playing out the respect card almost compared to previously. We saw that he went into that macro game on Moonlight Madness. No crazy stuff coming out of him. Psionic, as we predicted, did do something a little bit funky, and as you mentioned, he managed to proxy the Stargate as well. Not enough to win him the game. Marinelord looks pretty chill in his booth right now. We'll be hopping into game number 2 in just a sec. He doesn't look too worried. He looks very, very relaxed, and that's obviously important. It's very easy to go one game up, get really nervous, and we've seen many, many a 2-1 where the losing player in the series won the first map. So he knows not to get complacent here.
This game, I feel like Psionic is gonna go for either 1 base 4-gate blink or 2 base 7-gate blink. Either one of them. Either he takes a Nexus or not, but he's gonna go blink.
Where's the Twilight Council going to be?
When is it gonna be?
He's not going to like... No, you don't proxy Twilight Blink.
No, you don't proxy it.
None of that stuff.
You can hide it, I guess, a bit on the map.
I have to say, the Reaper scouting was fantastic, though, from game number 1. And like trying to hide it might not make much difference if the scouting from this player in the 10 o'clock position is anything to go by. He represents Team Millennium, ladies and gentlemen. Currently 1-0 up in this semi-final. It's Marinelord. And his opponent spawning in the 4 o'clock position as the blue Protoss player representing Against All Authority. Ladies and gents, it's Psionic. Only one player goes through, but we will have a French finalist.
We will have one.
Absolutely guaranteed.
Well, there is a lot of French finalists recently. Lilbo, Marinelord, probably.
Yeah, and I tell you what, it's not just like... Because you know back in the day when Stefano was absolutely tearing it up, at no point, well, to a lesser extent, we never went, oh, okay, all these players in France are now all rising to prominence together. Yeah. Whereas now it feels like, yes, okay, Lilbo's gone and won WCS, but it feels like everyone in France just decided to up their game at the same time. It's a little bit weird, actually. It's not... Lilbo has been the most successful, but we've seen multiple players really rise to the occasion, and that's what's really cool.
Of course, Starcraft 2 being very famous in France, due to Stefano, in a way, we all want to follow the same path and have the same success as he did. So, yeah, a lot of good players in France, definitely, and we're all looking forward to Legacy in 2016.
Yeah, that's going to shake things up as well.
Yeah, of course. We don't want Korea to be the main Starcraft 2 country anymore. We want it to be France.
I'll tell you what, that's going to be difficult.
That's going to be difficult.
But possible, you know, if we suddenly, you know, get the equivalent of Kesper over in France, we can make this happen.
Well, we don't want to have any rivalries in Europe, at least. Best country in StarCraft 2.
I think once upon a time, Sweden very firmly held on to that. And now France emerging as the bit of a StarCraft superpower, really.
Yep. Germany as well was...
yes, Germany very, very... and has always been solidly strong as well. Even when Germany isn't at the top, they're always there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
I just think like how long Hasuobs was constantly taking out the odd top-level gamer and making sure tournament results were always mixed up. For example, TLOs had his fair share of excellent results, and there's like so many we could name.
They have a lot of true veterans of esports.
Yes.
I could name Soccer, Hazu mostly.
Yep.
Now recently switched to Heroes, but of course they've had so many years of esport in whether it's Warcraft 3 before that, Starcraft Boudoir, and of course Starcraft 2 for many years.
More recently, Hero Marine.
Hero Marine as well.
Yep.
Not quite a veteran though.
not quite the veteran. I mean, he's not old enough to be a veteran yet, but you know, we can get there. So another Reaper opening, guys, coming out for Marinelord in this game. And once again, things looking very, very chilled. We don't have any buildings across Marinelord's half of the map as far as Psionic is concerned as well. He's gone for the Nexus, double checking with his Mothership core that there is no Reaper about to pop into his base, now doing a bit of scouting of his own. A little bit more of a chilled out game this time.
Yeah, but...
so far.
So far. And I think that even if Psionic took that Nexus, as I predicted, he's gonna add a lot of gates and a Twilight. I feel like it is scouting with his Mothership core, of course, never a bad thing when you know that your opponent open Reaper and the Twilight Council, goddammit.
Well, hang on. The 7-gate blink is still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Of course.
This could end up happening here. Oh, very nice position. I love how this was basically on patrol, knowing that Psionic was likely to try and come in and do a bit of scan. He wants to pick up one Marine. One shot,
nice.
one time. Managed to do it. He does sacrifice a little bit of health on the Mothership core, but of course he'll get all the shields back. That looks vaguely okay. Stalker coming in, attempting to kill off the Reaper. Unable to kill off the... Is that Reaper actually just going to go straight around?
No,
Will he get the last shot?
He's going to die.
Okay, there we go. I like how he was looking off the edge of the cliff, like, should I jump or should I get... That's a terrible decision to have to make.
YOLO and jumps.
I'd love to see the option to have the Reaper jump off
To
the cliff.
suicide your Reaper?
He was looking out into the distance. I felt so sad for him. You could see what was going through the Reaper's mind. He was like, nope, not going to do... Oh, wait, I'm about to get shot. It's a difficult decision to make.
So, Psionic adding 2 gates right now. Come on, I want to see 4 more.
2 gates? What is this? Macro? Come on, guys. Let's see this all in happen. No, we've got the Robo to follow it up as well.
That's
Psionic is being a little bit more sensible. Really kind of chilling out, waiting, I guess, for that army composition. And more importantly, I think he's acknowledged that, okay, Marinelord's not doing something crazy in game 1. He's likely to go in for the macro games. Maybe I'll have enough time this game to actually go into the kind of tech and the kind of army composition I want. And there isn't a failed proxy Stargate off the back of it, so I'm going to be able to get my tech faster as well.
This build is just the basic for the Protoss player. This is the build that Lilbo loves to use. Build that he used yesterday very well, even though it did not end up very well. And Marinelord as well doing some very classic build as well. Of course, going 3 barracks. Gonna start the upgrades, the +1. Gonna be making Medivacs soon as well, probably.
Very nice and chilled out as well, though. You notice Marinelord's keeping his army very close to his natural expansion. He's getting the turrets up as well, basically waiting to see, right, Psionic, what are you going to throw at me this game? And I like that Psionic is using the opportunity to try and go into a straight-up game. Also, you're 1 game down in a best-of-3 series. The best possible motivation you can have to go into game number 3 and say, yes, I can definitely take this series, is, more often than not, when game number 2 is a completely straight-up normal macro game, and you're like, wow, I can just beat this guy straight up. Yeah. So if Psionic's able to beat Marinelord like this, in this game, on the most straight-up map, Coda, he's going to be great.
This push, by the way, very, very scary for the Protoss player, because Marinelord made sure to produce 2 Marauders at a time. Whoa! And look at this army, it's just so scary. He's going to steam up there. Is the force field going to be enough to force field the photon charge?
He wanted a 3rd force field, really, to be able to ramp that up. He didn't have enough energy, and all of a sudden, this is looking ridiculous.
But the Nexus, though, is going to kill this army, probably.
I mean, the Stalkers have to
hold the probes are getting pulled. I don't like this move. You don't have to do that.
You just needed the 2 Zealots, I think.
Go back. Okay. Well, at least that's cleaned up. And Marinelord did delay his tech a lot to do that.
Yeah, but a lot of Stalkers went down, and the Mothership Core did go down as well, but not before dropping both the Photon Overcharge and Time Warp, which was really important. And now Psionic's able to scout out across the map, because he did have those observers in production. He was trying to play this super safe. Marinelord seeing if he can find an opening to end the game early there. Psionic wanted the... You know what? If Psionic dropped the 3rd force field, actually, Marinelord would just kind of sit back, wait out.
Yeah.
Or maybe even go home and wait for medevacs. I'm not sure. But Psionic just about held on there, because he did lose a lot as well.
Well, actually, like...
Not as much, though.
I like Psionic position, because Marinelord did delay his Medivacs so much to do this kind of aggression that... I mean, Psionic is not going to be in any trouble for the next 1 or 2 minutes, and he's going to be able to start his double upgrade, poking a bit with these Stalkers, killing 1 Marine, doesn't cost a thing.
The other thing to mention as well, of course, is when you've delayed your medevacs, Psionic is going to be happier about getting into Colossi sooner, because you obviously want to get the first 2 or 4 medevacs out before you start Viking production, even if you know your opponent's going Colossus. So that's going to be reasonable. Psionic now, wow, sneaky pylon right inside the 3rd base as the base is being dropped as well. He might be able to get this cancelled, and that would be very nice, and would buy him a lot of time as well to get his army.
Yeah, Psionic is trying to find a way to poke Marinelord a bit, maybe blinking into the main. Definitely gonna try to do something here. Hitting a Marauder, going back.
Needs to be careful. He needs to be slightly faster on the initial blink, I feel. At both times, including in the initial attack, Psionic lost a single Stalker before starting to blink back with the rest of the army. He's done that a little bit better that time around, but with Concussive Shell, he still has to be very careful. Marinelord is looking to be really aggressive with this army, and Psionic straight up just needs a little bit more as backup. You can't poke in with 4 Stalkers against Concussive Shell like that.
Yeah, it's a bit complicated to do that, but he mostly want to buy time, I feel, for his 1-1 to come. He wants to have more and more Colossi to be able to have this big AoE damage that the Protoss are looking for in the mid and late game.
Oh, the pylon just got shut down in the 3rd base as well. Of course, the base up and mining, but unfortunately, Psionic not able to get any damage done to Marinelord just there.
Wait.
Like you said, he is still buying time, though. And, oh, Well, Marine going to try and deny the third base. The Nexus does go down, and actually, if he can just... Oh, he doesn't even have to move the Colossus back. I mean, they know by this point. What's the medevac count at? That's going to be interesting. He's still producing medevacs, no Vikings in production yet, and Marinelord is still pushing out here.
He just has 2 right now, I think.
Yeah, he's getting the third and
Oh,
fourth.
6 medevac, my bad. He does have 6 medevac.
Nice spot on the Observer as well.
Oh, he's an expert for that. He's always zooming in and out to spot the observer.
Much, much easier to spot, of course, when your mouse scrolls zooming in and out rather than being static. And the observers are so hard to see when they're not moving as well. Yeah. So using your mouse wheel zoom to do that is fantastic. He's now breaking apart the... I feel like this is preparation for Marinelord, so that if he comes in with a drop, he's then able to multi-prong against the third base. I think he wants to, like you mentioned earlier about multitasking, he wants to be testing the multitasking of Psionic here and saying, well, if you don't handle this supremely well, I can just constantly deny your third.
It seems like he doesn't want to multitask this time. He's just going ham on this third base, trying to snipe this Nexus.
Oh, and he'll get the cancel if he wants it.
Yeah. The cancel's done. He's trying to drop some Widow Mine on the army, not quite working. There is no observer though on this this army, so it's just gonna back. No third base for you,
and look,
Psionic.
Psionic was thinking exactly the same thing. The Blinkstalkers weren't with that army. They were back in the main base because he thought Marinelord was going to split it up and attack the third. Yeah. And Marinelord instead decided to go straight on. He's now at 183 supply versus the 146 for Psionic. Well, his macro's been sick behind this as well.
He might just go for a counter-attack there, but this Blink was a bit scary for him. He's taking this engagement. Is he going to do it? I don't know.
Manages to kill off the Widow Mines at least, and the force fields on the left-hand side were actually... Oh, never mind. I spoke too soon. A third one there, catching Sonic a little bit off guard. The army supply is still in favor of Marine, and now he has an awful lot of medevacs with this. 3 more gateways coming down for Psionic now. He wants an explosion of units to really try and fend this off properly. A single probe is going to scout out what's going on there. And I believe... Marinelord now is just pumping units. He's only, I think, okay, that's only his second Viking. So if we get, you know, a decent number of Colossi, it will at least buy Psionic a few minutes here. Because you don't really want to go in with just 1 or 2 Vikings against this kind of Protoss army.
Yeah, and very important, Psionic did not lose any Colossi in this previous engagement. And that's the unit he doesn't want to lose at all. If he keeps them alive, if he managed to snipe the Vikings with his Stalkers, he's going to be in a lot of...
All right, Stim forward, and well, only 1 Colossus on half health right now. They're doing quite a lot of damage, but the Widow Mines burrowing in behind are actually distracting a lot of the fire. The Colossi doing a fantastic job with the micro is Psionic, but he doesn't have enough gateway units to completely shield them, and 2 out of 3 of them as a result go down now. Still a decent amount of Stim and a lot of healing in those medevacs behind it, and we're effectively down to Stalkers only in front of the Colossi. Mana Mule coming down as well. Marinelord with the numbers advantage here. That's it. GG. Well played, and by a scoreline of 2-0. Marinelord goes into the finals.
That was impressive. I mean, he just micro... I don't know, it just looks so simple for Marinelord there.
That was
impressive.
That was very straightforward in the end, but it takes a brave decision to go, actually, I think I'm going to have a timing with 6 or 8 medevacs here, so I'm not going into Viking production. I'm not waiting for this kind of decent composition to fight off the Colossi. I'm going to pump my barracks units as much as physically possible and really just try and squeeze Psionic out of the game before he gets to like 5 or 6 Colossi. Because 3 Colossi on their own, if you have a couple of force fields and a decent amount of gateway in front of it, they're still really scary if you don't have Vikings.
They are really scary, yeah.
So Marinelord made that decision and executed it really well. Very brave.
Also, I want to highlight the fact that he's microing and taking this fight very properly, always making sure to have a proper concave, always making sure to do this little move that make the difference, like dropping the Widow Mines on top of the army. It might not look super great, but hey, if you do that, the Protoss is going to move his whole army. Maybe you're going to have 1 or 2 very lucky shots.
And don't forget as well, when you're dropping those Widow Mines behind the army as well, I think there was something like 2 or 3 Colossus swipes, because at the end of the day, if you see Widow Mines there as the Protoss, you're like, right, I need to get rid of these now. Those Colossus attacks against a massive line of concave bile can do so much damage, and if you're distracting those big heavy hitting units by trying to take out the Widow Mines at the same time, that buys you so much time to do so much DPS from your Marines and Marauders.
Maru actually loves to do that, but with Marauders, which is also very smart, as they are tanking a lot of damage.
So really, really well executed attack there coming out of Marinelord. And I feel like Psionic was maybe 1 or 2 force fields or maybe 1 or 2 more Colossi away from being able to take a more confident initial engagement. And Marinelord, the entire series long, has always been about, oh, I see what you're trying to do there. I'm not going to give you enough time to do it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, to talk a little bit more about the match now on stage, we have James Banks, and we're going to be interviewing the winner here and seeing what he thinks both of that match and what's going on in the final. Take it away, mate.
Thank you very much, Durasol. I am joined by Marinelord. Now, so far, he's come through this 2-0 both games. You made it look pretty easy, but did you feel under pressure a little bit there? Was it harder than it looked?
On the first game, when I lost the first 2 medevac, like, he caught them with his Stalker, so I was like, maybe we'll be ahead now. But I think, like, he didn't macro well, since, like, on the first big fight, I had more, so, yeah, I don't think I played well, and I played quite okay, so, yeah, it was quite easy, I think.
Now, you just seemed one step ahead of him all the time. Now you're going to be, obviously, going through to the finals. You'll face one of the 2 Koreans. Who do you think is going to make it, and who would you rather face out of the 2 Koreans that are left?
I think Myung-sik is going to take it, like, quite close. I think Myung-sik is overall a better player, but against Terran, I think Kin is way more dangerous, so I would like to face Myung-sik instead of Kin.
And how are you feeling? What do you think your chances are now? You've gone 2-0 in both games, so are you feeling very comfortable, confident? Do you think this is the time you're going to get the win?
Like, if you asked me before the tournament, I would say that I had, like, 30% chance. But right now, like, I saw their game yesterday against Uthermal and Lilo, and I think they both played pretty bad, so if they play like that today, it will be, like, way possible, I think, for me.
Well, we'll find out very soon. And once again, we're going to throw it back to Lycan on the analyst desk to see what they thought of them great games.
Excellent games indeed. Thank you, Banks. Guys, that was a pretty quick series. I mean, you know, you called it. You said 2-0. Let's talk about game number 1, right? So first off, Psionic rushes the Oracle, right? That seemed to be something that Marinelord was prepared for, and it didn't pay off, and he put himself behind.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it a little bit before on that map in particular. Stargate play and proxy Stargate play in particular is very common, and that's kind of why it fell out of fashion, because pretty much every Protoss was doing it on that map for such a long period of time. So Terran's got really good at defending it, and as we saw from Marinelord, he didn't take any damage whatsoever. A little bit of a misplay from Psionic actually flying over the bunker, then taking a hit off the missile turret, so taking a bit of unnecessary damage, then later losing that Oracle. He did have another one, which he produced later on, but committing to 2 Oracles and not really doing any damage whatsoever, it puts you in a pretty bad position as Protoss. And on that map as well, when you go into the later stages of that game, past the mid-game, it just gets really tough, just kind of to defend all angles. And as we saw from Psionic, he couldn't get a third base. Marinelord was just super far ahead and then just kind of steamrolled him from there, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was even more than that. The first Reaper killed 2 probes. Then there was another scouting probe that got killed by the Marine. So that's already 3 probes lost in the early game. And the Reaper probably kind of saw the whole base as well. I think that also tipped him off for the proxy Stargate, because you can count the pylons, and if there's a pylon missing, well, it could be DT, but turret counters both.
Yeah, so like when you don't have a mothership core and you don't have a stalker. Then,
yeah, obviously it's going to be a Stargate. And losing the first Oracle, it just snowballs so hard from there, because if you don't do any early damage with that, you delay your Nexus so much, you delay everything else. It's tough to come back, even though later, because of the revelation, he managed to pick up 2 medivacs. But it just shows you how effective early damage is. The early damage basically Protoss took by not doing any damage was so much greater than the damage Marinelord took by losing those 2 medivacs later on. Even though that's a huge deal in a standard game, if you lose 2 medivacs like that, usually it's almost over. But he was just too far ahead.
Yeah, Psionic took a risk, it didn't pay off, and we move into game 2. Coda, right? I think that Marinelord could have played the push that he did into the Protoss base. I think he could have done it a little different. He pushes in and he snipes the mothership core, but he still continues to tank the photon overcharge in the natural. Do you think that he could have succeeded better if he had gone to the main as soon as he sniped the mothership core?
It's a tricky one, because in that situation, you need to do damage as the Terran. If you throw away all that army and obviously you delay your medevacs, which is the most important thing, if you delay your medevacs and throw away all that army without really doing enough damage, you're going to be in a tricky situation. You're going to be vulnerable to counterattacks, and Protoss can kind of do whatever they want. So after he did pick off those initial sentries and he picked off the mothership core, you're right, he could have gone into the main, but the safer option for him was to stay there and pick off as many units as possible, which he did. Psionic actually pulled a few probes, which he didn't actually need to do. But yeah, the main thing for Marinelord there was just to make sure he killed enough units, just so he wasn't vulnerable to a counterattack. Because, like we saw, his follow-up was to take his third CC, which was good. It allowed him to kind of push, I guess not even push his advantage, because it wasn't even really an advantage. It was kind of neutral at that point, but he managed to gain an advantage from that. So it worked out well for him.
Yeah, Dario, is there anything that Psionic could have done after that push to kind of do some counter damage or to play the game out a little different than he did?
Well, it's hard as Protoss if you lose your initial mothership core, you lose a sentry and your first units because you just don't have any potential on the map anymore. What I feel he could have done is maybe do something cheeky, like get like a delayed Oracle to come back into it that can actually hit hard pretty hard against Terran sometimes, because an Oracle early on you prepare for, but if it hits at a random timing, a lot of times you don't have a turret and you can lose like 10 SCVs and keep Terran back a little bit. Or he could have taken like a super greedy third base and just hope like that Marinelord doesn't attack again, because the medivacs are late, so usually Terran, after he does that initial attack, doesn't do anything for quite some time. So I feel like Psionic could have played a little bit of that.
Yeah, that's why it was a little bit strange to me as well, Psionic's follow-up, because he
got a robo, right? Like he was trying to play safe.
Yeah, he got a robo, he got a double forge, and that's like as passive as you can possibly be. And when you do that, you delay your third yourself. So the fact that Marinelord was going for a fast third himself behind that initial push, even though Psionic had good upgrades, as you saw in the later stages of the game, his army was just far too small. It couldn't compete with Marinelord, even when he had like, what, 1 or 2 Vikings against 4 Colossus. It still couldn't compete. So it was a bit of a strange follow-up from him. Maybe he didn't, I guess he didn't really react accordingly, I guess. So it's a bit of a shame, because he could have done better there, but it's just one of those things. I think maybe lack of practice, like you said before, he hasn't really been practicing too much. So yeah, a bit of a shame.
Yeah, it was. Well, thank you guys. We are going to go to a short break. When we come back, we're going to have Myungshik versus Keen for the last semifinal before we get into our best of 5 finals. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.